Hello and welcome back to this fourth part on the skill review for chapter 6. So we're going to begin with step 15. So step 15 wants us to add another function around this set of functions, and it's called the if-error function. And what that will do is if there's an error thrown, it won't put up an error on the screen. It will just put a blank on the screen. So sometimes that's handy to do when you don't want negative things on the screen like non-applicable NA or a hashtag value or something like that. So after the equal sign, we'll type error, if error. So here's what. Returns value if error if the expression is an error and the value of the expression itself otherwise. So what it's doing is that if we have an error from all of this, then put in a blank. So leave the screen alone. So we just nested and nested and nested here. So we should have a formula that looks like what you have on the screen in part E. Now what they want us to do in part 16 is copy the formula from B16 to B18. So 17 and 18. But notice that we need to have dollar signs here. So I'm going to click there. I'm going to hit F4. And I'm going to click here and hit F4. And the reasons why we need to have dollar signs, let me hit escape. F4. The reason why we need to have dollar signs is that when we copy this formula down, we don't want anything changing here. And so that's why we've got absolutes. So now I think that's correct. So we're going to copy this, Control C, to right here, Control V, Control C, Control V. So it should return football T for each of those. Okay. Now we know that's not right. So what we need to think about is we want the quantity in stock. And the quantity in stock would be column H here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the 8th column. So if we go back and look at step 17, it wants us to modify this formula here. We hit escape to get rid of the dotted lines and use 8 as the column number argument for the index function. The formula should look like the following. So we need to remember we've got this particular inventory number that gives us row 9, and then we want to look at the index for this value. So instead of being 1 here, we need to change this to column 8. So the quantity in stock is 18. The price column is column 6. So we'll modify that to put in a 6 there. And that gives us $1.15. Now that takes care of steps 17 and 18. And we may need to apply the accounting format. Click Home, Accounting, to B18. And now we're ready to do step 20. Step 20 says enter the rank EQ.EQ to calculate the ranking of the item's price. So in B19, that's what we want here. So where does this item rank in price? So we'll click on the Formula tab again. We go to Statistical. And we'll go down here to Rank EQ. And that returns the number in a list of numbers, its size relative to the other values in the list of more than one value that has the same rank. If more than one value has the same rank, the top rank of the set of values is returned. So what this function does is it puts all the numbers in the particular column in order and then tells you what the rank is of whatever you're looking at. So in the number argument box, type 1.15. Wow. Okay. I would probably use this cell reference because if you ever change this inventory item number, then all the information here will change as well, and it's not going to be 1.15 anymore. So this is what I mean by hard coding the value in. You always want to use cell references whenever you can. Then for the reference argument, click the inventory sheet and drag the cells F3 to F25. So this is the cost. That's where the 1.15 was. So what column was that in? That's what you would choose. Hit OK. And we would save the file here. We probably should have been saving all along. I'll leave this 1.15 in here, but I just wanted you to see that if we had actually used a cell reference, we would have got the same value. Now, if we ever change this, we would get different values for all of these. We wouldn't have to go back and change this particular rank function, putting in a different argument here. Okay, so I'll change that back to 1.15, just like they're asking for. All right, on to step 21. It says if you're having trouble with these formulas, use the Evaluate Formula feature to review the results of the nested formulas. So the first thing you need to do is select the cell containing the formula you want to evaluate. Then on the Formulas tab here, you would come over to the Formula Auditing group right here, and then select Evaluate Formula, which would be this option here. Use the Step In, Evaluate, and Step Out buttons as necessary until you have a clear understanding of how the nested index and match formulas work. Okay, so it really doesn't show. We'll just leave it here for this one. You can evaluate formula. Hit close. If we do the match and inventory, we'll do evaluate formula. Here's the step in. So we got this first one. We'll step out. That's the next part. So that's what this value is. So we want to match this value. And just keep playing with that until you can see how everything's working. Hopefully I've explained it enough that you understand. So this is how match and index. Match finds the value and returns the row that you're looking for. Then inventory, index gives you an index of the value that's in your row and column intersection. Well, if match gives you the row, then you just need to have the column that you want for the index function. All right, moving on to step 22. Step 22 says Hank's Sporting Goods is considering taking out a $20,000 loan to pay for inventory. The details of that loan are shown on the financials worksheet in cells C2 to D6. You will help Hank calculate how much money he would make if he invested those same monthly payments in a money market account instead. Calculate the theoretical future value of the same amount deposited each month in a money market account. So switch to the financials worksheet, click cell D9, and what we're going to do here is we're going to find out what, if you could make deposits every month, what would they be worth at the end of so many months or years. So there is a function called future value that we're going to use, and it's a financial function, and it's called FV. So the first thing you got to do is put it in the cell where you want it to go. So the rate here is going to be expressed as a monthly interest rate, so we need to divide by 12. So the current interest rate is in B4. Now that's the money market interest rate that you're getting for the entire year, so we need to divide that by 12 here. The next option is the number of periods, so that's going to be the amount in D5, so it's for 3 years. So I click in number of periods here. I use D5, but I need to multiply it by 12 since it's for months. And the payment is in cell D4. And the part F here says, notice the loan payment is already expressed as a negative number, so there's no need to alter the PMT argument. So what it's saying is, what is the future value of a money market account that only yields 0.25% APR for 3 years if you're putting in $653.17. And that amount is $23,600.08. So the question is, would you take out a loan for this amount to make that kind of money? So it looks like I left out some different arguments. So there's no value in the investment period to the first period, so you can skip the present value. So that would be this optional type here. So if we skip that, we just put in a set of commas for that. And then do we want it to end at the end of the period or at the beginning of the period? And here the appropriate type is at the beginning of the period, so we probably should add a 1 in there. So I'll double click that. And now we get 23,605 in there, which is a little different. And so you make sure you're doing everything correct, because on even larger scales, the difference would be even more significant. And I'm going to stop here. When we come back, we'll start on part 5.